we are now going to speak about open controllers and soft controllers. So, which is helping you in different specific applications, or it can be used in um, applications also. But mostly some of the application which is in the specification, it is already mentioned that you have to use controller which is already having the Windows base. So open controllers and soft controllers can help you out in those cases. So I will be telling you about the open controller part, and my colleague Dhananjay Jadhav will be telling you about the soft controller part. So open controllers, and if you can see here, the look and feel is almost similar to 8200 SP. If already some of you have used, you are aware of the open controllers, and this is basically the open controller uh, which is having all the different features which is by default there with S7 1500. And in addition to that, there are some more features. So as you know, in uh, 1500 controllers are like the 1500 controllers or the 8200 SP controllers. These are having the compact designs. This is which can be reduce the panel size, and because it has the compatibility of connecting the 8200 SP IOs in the same rack, so you don't need to have a separate rack for mounting the IOs, means IM or others to mounting the IOs. But compatibility is also there, that you can also connect remote IO stations with this 8200 SP CPUs, means the open controller CPUs. So as already mentioned, you can, it is expandable. And the security wise, if you have already attended yesterday's session, all the different securities which is there with S7 1500, all the different those securities are still applicable for open controllers. In addition to this part, you also have the flexibility that, as because open controllers is a Windows is already there, so can use it, the Windows part can be used for HMIs like uh, TI WinCC Advance with the different tags. It comes with different tags. You can order directly with the tag licenses, and the controller is by default there. So controller, HMI in a single system. Only thing you have to take care about the screens. So you can have a separate screens, and then you have the um, other third party applications can also be continue running in the same windows. So with this, as because the Windows is also there, complex tasks can be used like C++ programmings and other parts can also be add-ons. And it's integrated PC system, so you can also use higher level codes and controllers for your different applications. So as because you have seen both the things, controller part and the Windows part are combined together in an open controller. So IT OT integration becomes much easier. So in the operational technology or the OT part, you have an automation specialist who can write the program on the preferred languages, ladder, ABD, SCL, whatever is preferred, that can be written, and the programming for the particular machine can be run on the open controllers. Now, when with that, when a IT specialist want his application to run in the same part, so he can develop any code or UI or anything which is based on C, Java, Python, so and by default other applications, and use it with the PLC part, connect it to the PLC part and work on OT-IT integration. So this is basically the model. Sorry. So there are two basic. If you go to TI selection tool, I think my colleague Dhananjay will show you some configuration. Maybe then in that case, there also you will see that, if you are doing also a configuration, you will be able to see that There are two different CPUs. One is 1515 SPPC and another is PC2. This is the new variant of the CPU, and it is having like 1.6 gigahertz quad core processor, 8 GB RAM, and you can see there are display ports and USB, two USB 3.0 and one USB 2.0, and with 128 GB CFast card. So all these features are with this open controllers, and the operating system is Windows 10 Enterprise 64-bit, and this there is a restore image is also in the CFast card, and we will show you in our upcoming slides also how you can take a backup of this image and if required restore it whenever you want, and powerful Windows site for applications. Now from the runtime softwares, so it is basically the software control 21.9 with current functionality, means this PC2, and there are all the different variants are available, whether it is a standard variant, a failsafe variant technology, and by default HMI you can take it as a optional if you want or if you don't want. If in some cases it may happen that customer require a open controller for running the controller part as a PLC and his own made application to run in the Windows system. So it is not mandatory that you have to have a Siemens HMI software like Simatic WinCC Advanced to run with the controller, but it may happen that a software company or a special OEM or maybe a system integrator who are specialized in their own UI, they can make their own UI to connect with the controller and use it for the applications. So for making those things, you have all the supports of Simatic ODK and Target 1500S. Documentation is on the CFast card. And this family have the with connecting of CM. If you add another CMDP Profibus, then you can connect Profibus, and by default Profinet is also there, and we'll also show that how ET200 AL assembly client can be also connected. So this is the front view if you see from front, and what are the different things available. So this is the display port. So in this display port you can directly connect screen, and there are USB ports also to connect a mouse, keyboard, or a pen drive as per your requirement. Then there is a gigabyte port, Ethernet port, and the 24-volt power supply can be connected here. In between there is a heatsink, and there's a power LED, status LED, and behind this flap basically the CFast card is residing. So it can be, the flap can be removed and you can remove the CFast card. If there is any problem with the CFast card, if you want to replace it, you have to just remove the flap and insert it. And this and it is means removable and lockable storage for Windows RT. You can connect directly the 8200 SP with this backplane directly like a 8200 SP CPU or a 8200 IM, like you connect it back to back. You can connect here also the IOS 8200 SP with the onboard system. There is a run stop switch like the normal CPUs of 8200 SPs, and additional memory card slot for SD and MMC memory card is also available. So if we are talking about using this open controller both in different type of application, whether it can be software based application, it can be industry based application. So if you are considering it for industry based application, then it has to have a ruggedness, and for that what all supports it has a stain relief to increase the shock and vibration resistance, because if we are mounting it in different spaces, it may be in a direct panel where the vibrations can be more, so to sustain that, if you can use 15 open controllers also, because it is already having those sustainability. Then the certifications for UL and NetX is also there. So sparking interfaces to avoid the sparking interfaces, and this is already there. Temperature and altitude wise, so it can be used in higher altitudes. So applications where it is used in higher altitudes, like for tunnel and other part, it can be used. Then temperature range also you can see first is the storage temperature, and the operating temperature can be minus 20 degree to plus 60 degree. So the wide range of temperature where you can use it. So in case if it is used in a higher altitude with low temperature, then also we can use it up to minus 20 degrees Celsius for operating. Then USB, you have already I have spoke about this USB part, the different part, and the shocks and vibration, different shock and vibrations are by default. The range is also mentioned here, and you can get this range directly from our TI selection tool or um, from our technical specification from COS. But always keep in mind whenever you're checking, you should check with the specification given from customer whether it is sufficing your requirement or not. Then the for distributed controller, as already mentioned, that you can use it for ET200 SP by default. So ET200 SP IOs can be directly connected on the modules, but in some cases it may happen that there are some IOs which are directly mounted on the system, say for a conveyor or some crane applications. So it can be directly mounted on, maybe in case of hydraulic stations which is on the mm, machine itself. So I don't want to make a panel separately for the IO modules. I'll directly connect it to the machine. In that case, we can use ET200 AL modules directly, and it is also compatible. So you can go and try to configure it in TI selection tool, or you can use it in our TI portal, and we can see that it can be configured. So as you know that in case of ET200 AL, this is basically all for different applications where the requirement is limited space, because I don't want a separate panel, so space limitation is there. Then mounting wise, it should be flexible, that I directly connect a M8 connector and connect it to the instruments. So for that reason, flexible mounting and chained installation units, it's one after the other, it can be separately put in different sections, and it's like a chain wise I can connect one by one the different modules. Use on moving machines I have already mentioned, and the main preference is basically the M8 connections. And all these features are using it for small light and peripherals with high degree of protection, because in case of 8200 AL it supports that IP65 and IP67 category. Then for applications where there is a requirement of ASI master, like mostly ASI, if you consider, is mostly used or preferred in F&B sectors. So in those cases, as a ASI master, ST module is also available. So you can directly connect that CM ASI master ST module with the CPU, and then connect the devices on the rack. Just I'll use the highlighter to show you. So from this CM ASI, you can directly connect the ASI modules. So if you summarize in a single sheet, then these are basically the different thing you have already seen. So there are total 3 ports and having a single IP, and there is a, if you want connect a DP CMDP, then you can connect Profibus modules with this, and it can go up to 125 modules, and by default this onboard port will support the Profinet connectivity and the program and data memory. And in case of program memory, normal standard 1 MB and 5 MB for data memory, and in case of failsafe it is 1.5 MB. Bit performance 10 nanoseconds, and standard motion control, if you go ahead with that, you can go up to 30 axes, and hardware already mentioned about all these points. So the software which is there, so you don't need to have a ALM license for 1505 SP standard and failsafe CPUs. OPC US server and client is supported, like our 1500 controller. So all the different variants by default is there. So OPC and then read write ASCII file format in load memory, which is in the CFast card. Then secure OUC, then communication inside the PC via Ethernet standard. So because the Windows is directly on the PC, it is very much useful and helpful for others to use directly the system with the controller. Web server access, similar like S7 1500. So all these things are there. Operating system Windows 10 Enterprise, as already mentioned. But why it is little bit highlighted, because people may ask, okay, I'm using Windows 10, how I will get the support? So Windows 10 64-bit, whatever it is there, it is a long time service channel is there. So 10 years support by Microsoft is provided. And another thing is like, whenever you can get updates of Windows, whatever updates are there, current updates till mainstream form 9.1 till 2024. But and the security, all the known security settings for up to 2029. So you can imagine, if somebody is using this, the Windows support is still available for such a long term. As mentioned, there is a already given the backup. So how to restore that backup or keep that backup in a separate USB? So you will require a USB stick of minimum 16 GB, and also you require administrative rights under the Windows. So what we can do is we can open the file and create a restore USB link link on the restore partition E of this open controller. Then we need to an administrator right and enter the valid password. In the third step, we have to insert that memory, the USB stick inside the PC, and then confirm about by there will be a prompt asking you to whether to put delete all the data which is existing in the pen drive. So you can just say why, and then confirm about the copy of the restoration partition to USB stick. So complete the creation of the process. So enter and complete the creation of the process. So in this way, we can keep a backup and restore the system whenever we require. So all the different possible environments are available for Simatic ODK, including the Eclipse. If somebody wants to write different codes in C++, like I have already mentioned, that in case of applications where customer want to make their own UI or own application running in the background, then they can use Open Controller and make their own coding in the different languages like C, Visual Studio, using Visual Studio with C++ and other Eclipse, they can use it. And by default, Simatic TI portal can also be used. And in case of runtime, if I want to use it as a HMI, then you can use it as WinCC Unify, WinCC Advanced with the different tags. So that was all from the Open Controller side. So now I will request my colleague Dhananjay to share about some information about the soft controllers.
Yes, thank you, Prosanjit. Let me know once my screen is visible.
Yes, visible.
Okay, so we have already seen the open controller 1500 PLC RNH. So swap controller is also on the same product portfolio print. The only thing is that now swap controller is 1500 PLC is going to install on the PC. So look and feel will be also like 1500 PLC controller only. It will also having inbuilt soft display. So through that you can use the the PLC settings. You can do for different type of actions as well. So whatever functions or maybe you can say features are supported for the standard 1500 PLC or maybe a open controller, return SP controller, all are inbuilt. Even on the soft controller, we'll get even safety as well. So this can be installed on the PC, that is again the IPCs, and on all above that, even there is also possibility to integrate the higher level IT applications as well by calling the different DLL file. So there is also possibility to integrate with the IT system, could be with the ERP system or maybe a SAP system with different type of connectivity. So I'm not going to in detail again. Everything is similar like 1500 PLC controller functionality point of view. So it support motion task, PID, technology, trace, OPC is also there, diagnostic, web server, security, configuration control. So there is no difference with respect to the standard 15 controller. And if you compare with open controller and soft controller, definitely soft controller will have more memory because it is going to be installed on the IPCs and it will consume certain memory of the IPCs. To connect with the PropNet devices, definitely we have to connect the PropNet cards to these IPCs to have communication with the IO system as well. So that is also possible with open controller as well as the soft controller, and both will come into the FaceApp as well as standard version. So in today's scenario, some of the cases even we can think have maybe a open controller or soft controller than the standard controller. So application wise, you can see where FNB sector, pharma sector, or in many cases where customer want to have control of plan their plant line or maybe machine along with the quality inspection system also, like say maybe image processing. So with the help of the subcontroller on the same PC, they can do the image processing, and that image processing can be shared with this PLC program as well. So as a PC point of view, it can install from NanoBox, Micro Box PC, Panel PC, Rack PC. So these all are listed here. So you will get software uh, which is which will provide you by ordering the soft controller that need to be installed on this PC. So PC will have soft controller installed on that as well as the Windows system. Uh, so moving in detail, I mean to say through the SOP display, when you boot this IPC where the SOP controller is installed, you will get this icon on this PC only. So you can do different type of operations here. And apart from that, even you can do certain security also, like standard controller. So you can provide access to different type of access control to HMI, to PLC control, or maybe if you want to put or avoid complete entry, even you can bypass that as well. Somebody will say that let's say there is a problem with the display and they want to play around the CPU. In this scenario, or maybe in maybe a hardware controller, you will have different type of I mean, so you will have switch also through that. You can put CPU in stop mode, start mode. You can do certain actions there. But here in the soft controller, if display is not working, then how will perform the functionality on the CPU? So through Windows command line interface as well, you can work on this controller. So you can put CPU in start, stop. You can do the reset. So that is also possible via this Windows command line interface. So the SOP controller, the memory point of view, it has been divided in two part. One is the PLC memory, which is again the standard memory. Apart from that, it will also consume certain memory of the PC side. So that has been divided via Siemens hypervisor. So Windows will run parallelly along with the SOP controller. So some of the functionality can be stored on this CPU volume, which is there on this PC. For example, if you want to do the data logging in standard controller, that we have to put it into the memory card, and which will have limit. So, but here, according to the PC size, you can do this logging on this PC. There is also possibility to do the data logging on the NVRAM also, so without any UPS also. So that is also possible. So if somebody want to have directly recipe control within the PLC, somebody can think about this controller. So you, recipe retrieving, archiving is possible via web server that can be shared even with SQL database as well. So, retrieving point of view, again, it is providing the functionality over web server. So, if somebody is working on this recipe management on the SOP controller, so that can be retrieved archive via this web server, and that can be accessed within that PC itself. So, you don't require any external PC to retrieve this web server. So, that web server can be accessed within this PC system. So, that is very well possible. And HMI connectivity, so definitely whatever I told you about, it's a controller functionality which is very well known. But on the same controller, if you want to run the SCADA functionality or maybe HF functionality, so there is a possibility to connect even the external HMI also. That is very well possible. Apart from that, even there is also possibility to install the HMI runtime like WinCC Advanced. That is also possible. Professional WinCC's our classic 7.x WinCC OA, even OPC UA. So that is also possible to install on same PC. So on the same PC, we'll have SCADA as well as PLC together, along with the Windows functionality. So now on the same PC, one if customer is interested to have maybe a data exchange with another SQL database, so they can install certain ODK application. Through that we can extract data from this PLC and put into our database. So on the same PC, we'll have different type of functionalities also possible. Now installation is also quite easy. So once we have software controller DVD available, you have to just connect to this IPC and start installation like our normal step 7 or maybe a VCC professional basic installation, and then this soft controller will get installed on the PC, which is also quite simple for the installation. So during installation, we'll say how much memory is there in your IPC and how much it will consume it. So that is quite simple. And as we see in open control also, we have engineering as well as runtime. So in the runtime, we are having this PLC code running as well as the runtime of the HMI or maybe SCADA screen. Apart from that, and same PC as it's having installed in the software PC. So in this IPC, you can install SEP7 package also, and SEP7 package will have engineering as well. So you don't require any separate engineering package to work on the soft controller and do the PLC programming. On the same IPC, you can install even step 7 package. So now you can see in the same IPC, you have engineering package like step 7 WinCC HMI package. Maybe you can say install third party packages for image processing. You can install ODK to develop certain code for the integration with higher system. So many things can be clubbed together on the same PC. And for the downloading also, somebody will say if you are going to install engineering package also on the same PC, then how we can download within the SOP controller from the same PC. We can understand, let's say if you have external PC, through that downloading is possible, but within the same PC that is also possible. So once you open the TI portal and configure the SOP controller in the step 7 package, just by selecting from which interface you want to download it, select it. This is a interface you are going to use it, which controller, the SOP controller, and just click on the download button. Then that your program will get download into the internal SOP controller. And then there is also possibility to do certain functionality while downloading. You can reset certain functionality, certain parameters of the PLC. So that has been mentioned. So during reset configuration, all things can be reset, and those data which has been saved in NVRAM will not get resetted when you do the reset configuration or reboot. Now, as a configuration point of view, you can see on the IPC we have soft controller as well as Windows system. So on Windows system we'll have Ethernet card, and software and controller side we'll have CP card. Could be Profinet or Profibus, that has to be externally connect that CP card. Then you can do Windows functionality on Windows the card, and here you will have connected with Profinet IO interfaces or maybe Profibus devices. So connectivity point to support RT as well as IRT functionality. So even you can go up to 128 number of IO devices can connect to the SOP controller. In case of card 1625, even you can go up to 256 also. remote IOs. And then on the Ethernet side, on Windows side, you can access web server. You can connect with the HMI external. You can run the HMI interface or maybe HMI runtime like WinCC Advanced or Windows System, WinCC Classic here. So that can be accessed by this Ethernet port. Even we can do certain S7 communication also to exchange data with other controller. You can access OPC server, open user communication. But if you talk about the propernet interface, where you can do the propernet IO communication, that is not possible with Ethernet. Rest of the functionality is also possible on the same propernet interface. Going in detail, if you see the difference here, let's see if you go with this 1.0.7, second interface will have limited propernet functionality. For example, maybe a say web server or maybe a propernet connectivity with maybe a ring and all that. But in if you go with 1.0.8, it's having another propernet interface. Through that even you can do the control functionality also. So likewise you can connect even external IOs also to second interface also. So first interface anyway it is possible. With second interface also you can do the network segregation. So you can segregate your plan network with maybe a IT network. And as I said, it is a PC based system. So tomorrow, let's say customer want to do certain algorithm need to be developed on the same PC, maybe for the image processing or maybe for the complex algorithm. For example, maybe a wind turbine where the windmill, their algorithm will be always complex. They use MATLAB for their coding. So such a type of higher level complex algorithm can be built in this Windows system, and through that you can exchange data with PLC also. So MATLAB, once you develop your MATLAB code via ODK, it will create the function block, and that can be directly downloaded into the SOP controller, and through that you can exchange data between your develop higher level code with PLC program. So with the help of the SOP controller, we are also providing certain libraries. Through that you can exchange data directly with SQL database. If you want to do certain say CSV storage on the PC, so for that also we have a library. Even there is also possibility to exchange data with image processing system like maybe vision system or maybe a scanner printer. So that library support is also there. Apart from that, there is also possibility to use communication protocol which are not directly supported under this PLC connectivity in higher level languages, and through that we can exchange data with PLC system. And on the ODK side also, we have ODK controller, open development kit. Through that you can develop your PLC code in higher level languages. You can do certain complex algorithm. And once you develop your code, once you compile this in the ODK environment, it will create a TI portal library, and that will work in the runtime environment. And this is how you can exchange the data between your higher level languages with PLC code system. This is how once you compile this block from ODK, it will create TI portal code, and that can be directly installed or maybe put it into the PLC program. And security point of view, we can protect logic also like normal step 7 package, because this is nothing but step 7 package only that is going to be installed on the SOP controller. We can do the hierarchy also. You can create a libraries also. You can create global library. You can create project specific library, and that library can be also protected. It is also coming in the same variant, 8 GB CFast or 16 GB CFast to store the complete configuration of the SOP controller or maybe a open controller. Same variant, you can log the communication between HMI and PLC. You can restrict it different type of authentication. Same way, tomorrow if you want to exchange data with higher system or OPC way, so you can also create that up to 256-bit encryption communication with OPC way client via this control system. And these are the different documentations are available where you can get more detail about the SOP controller and open controller. And then if you are thinking or maybe customer is having such a type of requirement, we is looking for the PC based automation, surely we can think about this control system and we can operate. So that's it about the presentation point of view. Now we'll see the configuration. Definitely to controller or maybe 200 SP or 1200, it's quite easy, you know, by heart also. But for the soft controller or maybe a open controller, maybe you will come to with question that how to select it, what all the accessories are required. If I do some mistake, then what will be a possibility to add into the bill of material. So to answer for this all questions, so we have single tool, TI selection tool. So that is tool for the selection of PLC, HMI, IO communication, even drives, motor, software, all these things are possible via this TA selection tool. So this is having two version, cloud base as well as the local base. So you can install the software in your PC also. If it is a cloud base, then it will automatically update it. If you install this TA selection tool in your PC, then manually you have to update that software on the different frequency. So you can see here, you can do the plant configuration. For example, if you have already know, depending on number of IOs, which controller is suitable, you can directly click on the plant configuration, and by putting number of IO count, it will suggest that which particular CPU is suitable for your application. But again, don't go for this selection, because it is just providing the PLC selection as per your IO count. But apart from that, there is also important factor to select the PLC, like what is application, is there any motion, how many axes need to be controlled, safety is there, what type of safety you required, then what will be the communication load, is there any integration with higher IT system. So all together include looking into the factor, we have to select the PLC. So controller can be possible, IO system, panel, drives technology, industrial communication, everything is possible to select via this TI selection tool. So if you go to the controller, again this open controller and soft controller is part of controller family. So it has been segregated: basic controller 1200, advanced 1500 and 200 SP. Distributed is nothing but 800. You can select Pro also, that is also another controller available. And if you go into the software controller, which I have shown, that is a 1500 PLC. And if you go into the distributed controller, even will have distributed controller like open controller under here. So if you select this open controller, so first you have to select which type of controller you want to use it, either it is a distributed controller or be controller. So that family first you have to select, and apart application you are going for that, it's a say PLSAP application, or it's a standard application that you have to select. So we also get sometimes question that now we are unable to select the PLSAP CPU. So in starting only, first you have to select which type of application you are interested. So depending on that only, it will filter that particular CPU or IOs which will be there for the standard or PLSAP application. So if you click on the configure, then it will ask what type of control system you want to use it. So if you click on the add module, first you have to select you are looking or interested in the open controller, not in normal. So open controller also coming in the standard technology or maybe C plus, so that you have to select it. PLC variant is also available. In the selection itself, for open controller, as Prasun said, you will get standard controller, as well as there is also possibility to have my functionality also. So for example, if you are interested to have maybe a 2048 VCC advanced runtime should be available, so you can select that combination I required, and that's it. So once you select it, by default it will select the accessories also, what all the accessories are required. So in the open controller, CPAS card is required. That CPAS card, either you can select it 8 GB or 16 GB, depending on your say application, that you can choose it. OPC server is required or not, that is also select product and all that accessories. And then rack you can connect it. So that's it about this selection point of view. Then it will select what type of adapter, what PC is required, so everything will be get selected. Similar way for the soft control also, selection point of view, it is little bit different, because in the soft controller side, selection first definitely will have soft controller option available. So that is a software review. First you have to it will give you that you have to order it. But apart from that, existing IPC, or you want to also order new IPC, because soft controller required always IPC. So first soft controller you have to select the which variant, failsafe standard, and IPC. Say I required IPC also. Then here it will get it will show at what type of IPC you want to use it. So definitely not existing. So new IPC. Then which variant you want to use it. So we have already seen the presentation. That's why we created same flow. So now you know what all the IPCs are there in our portfolio with BIS approval, different type of configuration. So you can straight away select, maybe you are interested in the IPC 2270, and then you can create it. In IPC, once you say create it, then here itself it will show what type of configuration are you interested in IPC also. Straight away you can select that IPC configuration also. So if you click on that, it will open the IPC configuration, and then you require maybe 8 GB, 2 GB, so that you know we already seen this configuration in the Pavitra session. Then you can select it. So I'm just selecting the basic version, and then that's it. And apart from that, I don't have to select anything. So if I want to use maybe a display, so I can select, maybe I require a display, maybe backplane, or maybe you can say USB connector. So this is a there, but I'm not interested into that. And then if you just simply go to the order list, you will have bill of material available for the soft controller, which is having the standard DVD as well as the IPC configuration. That's it.